Hey guys, before we get started with the new episode, we wanted to apologize for the audio quality in this episode. It's not amazing, it's not great, it's not bad, but it could obviously use some improvement, as I'm sure that you're about to find out. So, moving forward, we are going to be making some efforts to improve that, and we hope that you guys will bear with us for that. So, without further ado, here is our new episode. Welcome to the Naked Relationship Podcast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Kelley.
And we are joined with the sexy couple from Swinging Along podcast, Chris and Karen.
Yay, we're so excited.
We are even more excited.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are the first ones to be a guest on our podcast.
Yeah.
Not saying you should feel honored, but
we're breaking your virginity.
Right, popping the cherry.
I'm pretty sure my cherry just popped. I'm kind of bleeding all over the place. Is that normal? It kind of hurts. I don't know.
Yeah, if it hurts, it's I don't know, babe.
Pain is good. Pain is good, guys. Just go with that.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
So we kind of wanted to talk about, what we look for in the single life. I mean, in a single male, because we've experienced single male problems, as I'm sure you guys have, based off of your recent podcast and admissions to Kick and all these other various platforms, as well as, a lot of other people. I'm sure this isn't just limited to us. It's a very easy thing to have happen. Just single guy problems.
Well, yeah, I mean, the single guy, you can ask anybody that's really super active in the lifestyle and other podcasters. You're going to scroll through their episodes, and I can guarantee you that at least one of them is going to have either a single guy dilemma or rules for single guys or any type of major issue that a swinging couple, whether you're married or just together, you're going to have that. Probably your first issue in the swinging / alternative lifestyle is you're going to encounter with a single person. Ours was with the single men. And
the single women are not.
Single women.
The problem with the single women are they don't exist.
Yeah, that's why they're called unicorns, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
It is. And I mean, I completely understand, though, where single people are coming from in the lifestyle. And I try to be basically devil's advocate when I'm looking at a situation. I look at, okay, how is a single person feeling coming into this, lifestyle, whether it's purely just a sexual relationship where they're pretty much getting used for, to fulfill a fantasy for a couple, or perhaps they're looking more for like a poly or long-term, friends with benefits. It's kind of along the same thing. But I've had some pretty good single guy relationships or sexual experiences, you can say, which is why I keep. Problem is, I just wish they had better etiquette.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just a lot of single guys are on here, and they're like, "I'm really only here to talk to the female," or they just have like a really disrespectful way to say that they're only into the straight stuff. Whether that's gay or like whatever. It's just like so disrespectful that it's just like, he might have had a chance until he said it like that, and then it's just like it's game over for him, really. Right,
correct. And I mean, obviously, anybody who listens to our podcast knows that Chris recently came out that he is bisexual, and that we bi-curious because he hasn't had that experience yet. It's the fact that the problem we run into is, men that are disrespectful to our rules, which we don't have many rules. So I feel bad for the couples that have a longer list, because that is just something that, I mean, I can imagine how difficult it is for them to find someone. But it's also, I mean, call me old fashioned, if I can say the word old fashioned right now, but yeah, just because I'm a hot wife doesn't mean that I'm going to just spread my legs within 5 minutes of meeting you. And that's the problem that I'm running into. Let's go out. Let's have a beer. Let's have a shot. Let's enjoy a little bit of the nightlife. Let's connect on a fun, personable level. And then let's go out and let's talk.
That's right. What is it? $3 for a beer, $5 for a shot?
Dude, I'm a cheap date, man.
$8.
I'm just saying.
I mean, there's a lot there.
You mentioned you do have a couple rules. What are those few rules that you do even have?
We have rules.
So,
all right. So the one rule that we usually live by, but I don't know if we're swaying from it, is we run into a lot of people when we find couples and they only want my wife. Like they just want a threesome. And we look at it like, if we have a hard time finding that unicorn, we're not just going to willingly give you my wife for your unicorn experience. But if your wife wants to come over first and do it,
Oh yeah.
which is never going to happen. So that's pretty much a hard rule that she doesn't play with couples.
Right. And I mean, I think our rules apply in different situations. If you're coming into our relationship as the bull to fulfill Chris's cuckold fantasy, then you have to understand that you're going to be videotaped. You're going to have pictures taken. It doesn't have to be of your face, but that, that's the whole point of the whole cuckold and bull fantasy is,
especially if you don't want me around.
Exactly. Like it's we've learned that it's a little bit awkward when Chris is in the room for some men who are not really experienced in that aspect of it. But I'm either gonna call Chris in the middle of having sex so he can hear it, or I'm going to, we're gonna send pictures of me giving you a blowjob, and your dick is gonna be in the picture. It's not like we're gonna share it with anybody, but that's basically a rule of ours.
If someone knew what your dick looked like, though, then that's an impressive dick. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God.
I just don't think I can argue with you on that one. If someone knows what your dick looks like, that's an impressive dick. Either that or
I mean, my titties are pretty much well known, so I guess a dick could be well known.
I guess you have to put them out there every day.
Because I'm a little bit of an exhibitionist and I love it, so it's okay.
Kelley's kind of turning into a bit of an exhibitionist with her Twitter.
I've seen it. We've been stalking you, Kelley.
Yes. What do you think? Tell me. I like feedback.
We want to see more of it.
Love.
That's great. It's good to hear.
Well, there is more content on the way.
Yeah.
Excellent. I might even put up a bid for some of your panties, I heard. So
let's do it. It's fun. I love it. It's so powerful to do it.
But yeah, no. So that's. I mean, those. Like I said. Well, we have our rules together where we always need to tell each other where we're going. So at all times, Chris knows where I'm going to an extent. There have been some. In the beginning, we had to kind of work through that.
I'm just saying there's other fantasies to an extent.
Yeah. Well,
we don't have any rules.
Then you know what? Just fuck it. We have no rules.
The couple one is kind of like a hard rule because you're not going to find like any couple that's willing to send their wife over to another couple because they're not looking for that.
Yeah, I think in the terms of if someone wants to play with us as a single person, that really doesn't happen unless as a couple, if we're doing single play, because obviously we try to live also like a poly lifestyle. If Chris goes on a date with a single girl, that's different. If I go on a date with a single guy, that's different. But we're not going to be the single person for another couple unless that couple wanted to then swap their single person for the experience.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that, but it's never happening.
It's never happening.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that we are there yet, personally speaking, and that's not necessarily for everyone, but it's just kind of like, it's one of those for us that I think long-term down the road, I think we want to get to, because Kelley has like a fantasy where she wants to feel like she's cheating on me, which is fine. It's just kind of one of those things where we have to build up and work towards.
Yeah.
This is 5+ years in the making for us, though.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we're going to be celebrating 1 year of our podcast in March, and it's taking, I mean, anyone can see the evolution of our own sexuality and where we are in the lifestyle in that 1 year, but we've been in the lifestyle for 4 years before that.
Over 5 now.
Yeah, we're on our 5th year. Well, we started out real slow the first year or two.
We tried to podcast back then with one episode.
It's the fact that you will eventually evolve. I mean, Kelley, that fantasy that you have is something that Chris has. Chris has this where he wants me to tell him I'm working late, but in reality, I'm out being naughty, and he doesn't want me to come home and tell him. Like leave my cell phone, like it on the couch or something, and he checks it, and there's a picture of like me, or hey, I had a great time fucking you last night, or something of that nature, and he finds out that way. But when we first started out, that would have never been, a scenario or an option that we would have never discussed.
Yeah, I get it. It's just like it's taken so, like, what is it, like 2 years we've known each other?
Yeah.
And when we first started out, we just wanted to explore all the sexual stuff that we wanted to do to each other. Mm-hmm. And then it's evolved since that, because our relationship for almost 2 years, all of it was based solely on sex until we went to therapy together and decided to, like, actually build a solid relationship on communication and honesty and respect. And that's helped open up this other aspect of our sexual relationship and bringing other people into it.
Because we talked about for about a year and a half, swinging, and it took probably, I don't know, 4 months of therapy to kind of, make it to where we both kind of felt okay with it. And for you, it was, you didn't think that I could handle swinging.
Yeah, I didn't think you could do it because you were extremely jealous. Okay, remember when that one time that guy texted me? It's like, who the fuck is this?
I was like,
it's my coworker.
I was like, this bitch is going down. Let me tell you. No,
you know what? I should have had a first inclination that Chris was built for this lifestyle because he was never a jealous person, that I used to get angry with him and say, how come you're not jealous? I was just jealous. I would leave the house on girls' night in the sluttiest outfits ever. And he would just be like, he'd slap my ass going out the door. And I would be like, you're not jealous at all?
Oh my God.
I tried to beat up at the bar, but we're not
that
going
was
to talk
different.
about that. Well, I mean, we'll be together 10 years in April.
Wow.
So we've come a long way with it.
We have, and we think it's pretty awesome that you guys talk about therapy out in the open, because I think that sometimes people think that if you're going to therapy, especially in this lifestyle, I feel like people that are swingers or that are activists in the community, they're sometimes a little bit afraid to say, hey, I went to therapy, or we're going to therapy. Sometimes it's something that your relationship it's like maintenance. You get your car oil changed up and whatnot. Sometimes you need to go to therapy to just talk, or maybe have someone else have you in a sense, you know what I mean? I guess what I'm trying to say here is sometimes a therapist can help you bring certain things out. And, when Chris and I, about a year before we started getting into the swinging lifestyle, we had hit a rough patch, and we did the same thing. We had gone to therapy, and through that helped us communicate better with each other. So then through that communication, Chris was able to finally open up to me and tell me that he had this fantasy of being a cuck. And from there, it all went uphill, not downhill, because this lifestyle has been amazing. So, but if we had never gone to therapy when we were having the rough patch, we would have never had the communication skills to be able to talk to each other about this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think the communication one, as well as the trust, was what was holding us back, because Kelley always thought I couldn't handle it. And, and I was jealous to a point, which again kind of comes back to the trust. But at the same time, if we don't have the communication that we have now, we probably would not even have made it past the first experience.
Yeah.
You know what I would say is April will be 10 years. August will be 9 years married.
Yeah.
So we got married really fast.
Well, when I knew what I wanted, I knew what I wanted.
After being together. So I've always known that she loved me. So I never really, it doesn't bother me like that. I was never jealous because I knew she loved me and wanted to be with me. So it made it easier, I guess.
But I will tell you, I mean, the fact that we started to travel down the poly, which poly now incorporates emotions and feelings for another person, you have to have an immensely strong communication with your partner, and then your other partner as well. I mean, this is something that I'm sure, you guys have heard. Like Chris and I had to have a sit down over the whole incident with John, who was my recent, who I thought was going to be, this is the great first guy for poly in this aspect. And, and I really got hurt by him. And it was the first time that Chris had to sit back and watch me essentially shed some tears over another guy that wasn't him. And we talked about it, and he was like, you know what, this didn't bother me. I'm more bothered that you got hurt out of this, but I'm not bothered by the fact that you had these feelings for him.
Right, you better not show up at the bar next week.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a problem that with single guys too. You haven't dabbled too much into the single guy avenue yet, have you? Or you have? I know you guys had the threesome one, because we definitely had our very quiet car ride listening to that episode.
We've had 5 or 6 experience, so not really that much experience, but I believe 4 of those were with the single male.
Yeah, and
three of those threesomes were with the same one.
Yes.
Now, when you guys find someone like that too, that you want to probably play with, do you meet them out for a drink first? Like, because that's what we do.
Well, we tried to. However, with the one that we frequent, it was
4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it was 4 a.m. He drove an hour to come get his wiener touched, if you will, and
that was like a weird situation.
Yeah, and then the second time was we kind of did that in a way. Like we had him over and we had a beer or two before we did the do. And
Right.
third time that we did it with him, we actually, wined and dined him. So not only did he get free food, but he also got his wiener touch.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that could we that's a strong when we meet someone for the first time or she does. We don't think we're asking a lot for them to meet her out. They don't have to drink either, even though that would be a downer for Karen, I think.
I mean, I can handle the drinking for both of us, but
we're not asked. I don't think we're asking for a lot when we ask them to come out, have a drink. They don't even have. I don't even need to be around. I trust her judgment, and if she needs me, she'll call me.
Yeah.
And just have a drink with her, get to know her. And then, listen, Karen lived for a while with the strong rule that she will not sleep with you on the first date. And she has broken that rule, I think, twice now. So that rule is definitely flexible if she gets a good vibe from you. But you have to come out to do that.
Yes, both times I broke that rule. I texted Chris. I went, excuse
Well,
myself.
I was there
and
for the one.
The one, but I excused myself and I went to the restroom and I said, look, I'm going back to this guy's house. And he was very shocked. And he said, are you sure? Are you comfortable? I was like, listen, I've never been more comfortable before in my entire life. And I said, I'll give you the address of where I'm going. I had been drinking. I never drink and drive. And I didn't want to call Lyft from there. The guy was obviously going to take me to his house. So I was like, here, just pick me up when I call you.
Oh, well, then that's three times then.
Yeah.
Because then you had the car incident and then you had John, who I was there for.
Well, the car incident wasn't a fucking, it was a blowjob. Well, I'm more lenient with oral sex here, okay? Just put that out there.
Well,
But the guy was very like he treated if I was a single girl, I would have been begging this dude to probably marry me because of how great he treated me out. He didn't rush the date. He in fact wanted to stay out a little bit. And he, just treated me with the utmost respect. And even when we went back to his house, he made sure I was comfortable. He didn't push anything. He pretty much let me take the reins. And then he took the reins in the areas that I like. And then, I called afterwards. He poured me a glass of wine. He didn't rush me out the house. And Chris came and got me. And I mean, unfortunately, the guy wasn't going to be around in the area long in that aspect. And yeah, trust me, I wish I could have that guy back all the time because he would have been a repeat single guy in a sense. But and some people have said, well, do you think you hold too high a standard to the single guys? Well, yes, I do. I hold a high standard to them because most of a single guy's fantasy is to fuck a hot wife or a wife in general or a slut wife, as they want to call it. The least you can do is I'm not even asking for dinner. I'm asking for a few cocktails to unwind.
You'll buy your own appetizer.
Dude, how many times I'm like, I'll pick up my own check at this point. But it's, let's go out, let's talk, let's have the uncomfortable conversation where you asked me when the last time I was tested. I ask you when the last time you were tested. Let's have those, uncomfortable but necessary conversations over a glass or two of wine. Let's talk about what each other's looking for and what we're expecting.
Let's see if we feel each other out. Like you may not be into her, she may not be into him. Like you need to have that connection, that vibe still.
Yes.
To want to go further. You're not going to fuck anybody.
No, I don't want to. Like my last date I went on, where he basically told me to suck down my wine and to swing him.
We also had the running joke that she looks at how I talk to other women, and she's like, "Damn it!"
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, kind of going back into like the standards. I feel like if the gentleman would have said, "Suck down your wine," so we can go back and do it. I feel like that would be a no-no for us. I feel like we would let him down at that point. But kind of diving even further, with the standards, I was thinking about it all week, and one of the things that I want, I think that we all want, is number one, respect. Non-bedroom, bedroom aside, but respect, as well as to be. I really want to meet a guy that is going to treat Kelley like the queen that I try to treat her like. Not necessarily like where he falls in love with her, but just, treats her with a lot of respect and like a queen. it's not, super douchey,
Right.
I guess, and I feel like that's not too much to ask, really, but it's proving to be way too much to ask out of most single guys, I feel
Well,
like.
it's not a lot to ask. It really isn't because we kind of live along the same lines. I guess the problem that we all run into, and which I'm sure other people do as well, is we're in a sex lifestyle. So that right away gives off the flag to them that, oh, well, that's all they want. That's all I care about then, rather than be respectful of the person in and out of the bedroom.
Even when we go to the sex clubs, I mean, if we meet a couple there or we meet someone while we're there, like we're not just pre-scheduling a date there with a couple or anything of that nature. We literally, we sit there and we talk to that person. It's not just a wham bam. Even if it's just a half-hour conversation, it's like, all right, I like this person, I trust this person. Let's go and see what we're comfortable doing.
We might have shared it, but did we share? We shared our first club experience when we met the couple that we went back to the casino with them, and we weren't getting the signals they were throwing at us. We've talked about it on one podcast. And while we're sitting there watching another couple have sex, Karen started going down on me, and some guy just sits next to me and says, "Can you share her mouth?" And it's like, you could say hi first, maybe.
Yeah, or it's really not.
Wait till she's done.
It's really not Chris's decision. It's my body. So
I mean, come on. I know we're at a sex club, but
yeah, but you know what? There are, and I want to put this out there because we get all the time. Oh my God, why do you do it? Why do you still look for single guys if you're having these problems? Because when you find the good ones, they're the ones that make it all worth it. I have a guy. I actually have a guy who I met through, he's a huge fan of our podcast. He's our big fan on our Twitter. And he's the guy that I, met him for the first time. I was so comfortable with him that I gave him a blowjob, and he was very handsy with me in the parking lot. He got a hotel room. He was supposed to wine and dine me on Wednesday and go out and basically cuck Chris as well. He knows all the rules. He talks to Chris all the time, super respectful. The problem is he lives 3 hours away. So this guy was going to come all the way down here. Well, a freaking blizzard happens. And of course, I don't want him to die driving to get to me. So we have to reschedule that date. But when you find those ones that work, they make it everything worth it.
Well, that leads into my next question, which is, what are some things that you guys look for in a single male? Because, again, I think for us, it's mostly just respect and treating Kelley like a queen.
My big thing is respect. Like, number one, it has to be absolutely respect. I do look for someone, it's not a deal breaker, but someone who does enjoy going out to the bars and enjoying that nightlife. I pretty much tell people I live a double life. I have my daytime life and occasional nighttime, obviously with my, like my family, and I live that life. And then on the nights I don't have my kids because we have joint custody and things of that nature. Then I want to live that different type of lifestyle that I want to live. So I do essentially, when they say, "Oh, can I take you out for coffee and stuff?" That's not really what I'm looking for.
Well, I feel like you need to have some common interests as well.
Yes, you have to have a little bit of common interest, and obviously he has to have been recently tested. I mean, that's a huge thing, especially in this lifestyle. And he has to be comfortable with the fact that I am married, that this is not, unless he's looking for poly, which we'd have to connect on a different level. This is all that this is going to be.
Then you have to have a lot in common at that point.
Well, yes. So, I mean, my standards aren't really much.
No.
So it's not like I'm asking for much, and I really don't have high standards. I mean, I have to be attracted to you. But I get asked that all the time. Well, Karen, what's your type? I don't have a set type. I can be with someone that has a beard who looks like, a country guy out there rodeoing it, and then I can be attracted to the typical Jersey Guido. You know what I mean? So I don't. I really am attracted more to personality, and I have to. This is why I have to meet you in person. I don't judge anybody solely off of their pictures. I have to meet you in person and see if what I'm seeing in the picture is what it is, especially after our recent catfish episode. But and I also have to be sure that I connect with you. Chris, because he's more bi-curious right now, we're more so looking for a bisexual or bi-curious male as well, who is going to be okay with being with the both of us for Chris's first time. Chris doesn't want to be one-on-one with a guy for his first time. He wants it to be incorporated with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I get that. And I will say this, doing that together is so much
I'm
fun.
looking forward to it. It's the only thing
Well, you recently found someone that we think might be a good fit.
Yeah.
You're still feeling them out.
Oh yeah. Man, let me tell you something. Social media is great, man. When you start meeting those people that like your podcast, it's just like, oh well, hey.
So I have a question. So what platform, like you just mentioned social media, like do you find these people through your social media or do you use like apps like Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid, things like that?
We have multiple apps.
We use like everything.
Yeah.
But we found Karen found a couple on Twitter. We found the most recent one that is bi on our Instagram. And then we also have like Karen has a Plenty of Fish profile where she's completely honest in it. And it blows up all day long.
Yeah. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes. But then, I'm also bisexual myself. So, Chris and I both have, Bumbles. He has it for him and I have it for myself for another female, which I found a single female for Monday.
Nice. Let's have a date on
Tuesday, I'm sorry. So, we pretty much, we like accessing so many different platforms because we meet so many different people. And feel some people are like, well, how can you meet people, that listen to your podcast? Sometimes, well, first of all, people do meet and greets all the time. Second of all, some of these people, they literally live through your podcast or they relate to your podcast so much that they feel like they know you, that these are the people that know exactly what I'm looking for and my expectations. I have the best freaking dates on. Yes. I really do.
And if they want to meet us, all they got to do is follow our Snapchat because we always post where we're at.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We, as I'm sure you guys are aware because you listen to our podcast, we both got Bumble again. And I'm over here struggling to get, a match. And Kelly's like, oh, I got like 50 of them yesterday. And I'm like,
yeah, we actually brought you guys up the other day because Chris was having the same issue on Tinder and on Bumble. And I'm on Plenty of Fish with 1,200 people want to meet you. And Chris is like, God damn it, now I feel just like the Naked Relationship podcast.
Yeah, it's like I feel so bad for Adam at times. It's like it's discouraging for me.
Yeah,
when he's on
bad as a partner. It makes you feel completely bad as the other partner. But in reality, we get so many people who like women who are fans of the podcast are like, oh my gosh, Chris is so sexy. And then when they meet him out, I mean, the women that we've had for our relationships, Kay, B.
I thought we were saying names now.
Oh yeah, Christina, Becky, all them, whatever. Alyssa. These are smoking hot women. I mean, Kelley, these women, I'm telling you, I wish they were all just into me and only me. No, I'm just kidding, honey. But these were smoking hot women who were extremely attracted to Chris. So it's just women on dating sites are not like how I am. Like I respond to almost everybody as long as I'm somewhat attracted to you.
I joke about it with her. Obviously, Christina, we knew as she's a friend of ours. But the other two, I actually found them on Whisper. And people would be like, really? Not? And for whatever reason, I had better luck on there because I would just post something or I would comment on someone's post and I would be honest with them and they were cool with it. Where when you go on a dating website, you're struggling. These are people that want to get married for the most part. They're looking for love. And I mean, you could offer love at one point, but definitely can't offer marriage. I think it's only Utah, right?
Utah, I think you can have, you can marry more than one sister wife.
You can have it,
but it's what you're looking for. So it's I could see why it's hard. I really like SLS for couples. And I like Cassidy because I've seen a lot of single people on there.
Yeah. Cassie's starting to grow more on our side. I mean, Cassidy, we've been promoting for a while, but Cassie started out on the West Coast, so it had to trickle a lot into the East Coast, and so now we've noticed a lot better reception with single people.
The only downside to that website is we got to talk to them with the group events. I constantly get party events where people throwing a party in Vegas, and I don't live there. We want to go, but we're only going to be there 3 days. Send it then.
Yeah.
I get it. No, we honestly, we're mostly on SLS for couples. We've also got 3Fun and Field, which used to be Friender, I think.
Funny story about
And-
Field. We definitely found a relative on Field with her husband.
No, it was not. We found my ex's, my kid's mom, her sister, and her husband on there.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I
my
know exactly what she looked like. My wife worked with her for a little bit.
I worked there, but here's like super conservative family, like super conservative. She is super hot though, so it was like we were debating about
Swiping right.
We totally hit that button that tells you that you're into them, and we were like, let's see what happens.
Just kind of going for the whole family, huh?
Be the first time Chris was trying to go after sisters.
Excuse me, I was young and dumb.
Tia or Tamara? No, kidding. Yeah, SLS is mostly, what we use for couples and Three Fun as well. But I don't know, we're on Cassidy. You guys are how we found out about them, but at the same time, we're not a premium member of that one yet. I would like to be, but it's kind of one of those where, since we're a premium of SLS, we're on SLS quite a bit. Yeah, this will be our 10th episode. And by the way, congratulations on your SoundCloud of, what was it, 200,000 listens?
We got over 100,000 listens on SoundCloud alone. And we didn't put it on there because we're trying to space it out. But we have over a 75% ratio, like subscription ratio on iTunes. Yeah, we're in so many different. We're in Australia, Sweden, Finland, England. Yeah, it's like
I like when we get we'll get like the emails from people, and it'll be like a guy from like Scotland.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, they were in Scotland.
Yeah,
That's awesome. No, Australia is where we're moving for retirement.
Where?
Australia, big on Australia. That's off topic, but no, like congratulations. That's an amazing feat. I mean, that's incredible. We're not even close. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Chris and Karen for coming on this week for our new episode. You can find our social media at TNR Podcast. You can also email us at nakedrelationship@gmail.com. And please do. We're still waiting on enough responses to go ahead and give out that $25 gift card. So, and then Chris and Karen, tell us about your podcast, where they can find it at, and how they can reach out to you.
Sure. So our podcast is Swinging Along, and you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, Stitcher. Is that it, honey?
What'd you say?
Yeah, I think I said them all.
Okay.
We love emails, and you can email us any questions or anything at swingingalong69@gmail.com. And
you can find us on Snapchat
at Swinging Along.
You can also find us on Twitter
at swingingalong69
and on Instagram
at Swinging Along Podcast. that has never happened.
We flow best when we do it together.
Yeah.
Pretty well rehearsed, I'd say.
You don't know how many times we have to redo that when we record our own podcast.
It depends on how many drinks we're in.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I love it. All right, well, again, thank you guys so much, and we look forward to hearing your new episodes and continuing to talk to you guys,
Awesome.
as well as helping with the website.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us,
for
guys.
having us. It made our Saturday even more sexier. So thank you.
Definitely did.
Well, thank you guys.